I've been catfished by AI. I've been catfished by
What?
You name the catfish opportunity, I have had it.
Stop.
People asking for money. I had...
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Hey Babe, Can We Talk? With me, your host and bestie, Drea Renee. If this is your first time here, welcome. This is the place for the hot mess expresses, the black sheeps of love, and for those who just can't seem to get it right when it comes to matters of the heart. I am you, you are me, we are one. And if no one else gets you, I do. And if you're returning, I missed you. And we're going to have a great episode. On today's episode, we have the fabulous Adam Freed with us. We're going to be talking about, is it hard to date when you're a hopeless romantic? And who chases who in same-gender relationships? We're going to get into all the things. But before we do, make sure you hit that like, follow, subscribe, and comment down below because I'd love to hear from you guys. So without further ado, let's get into it with Adam Freed.
Hello.
Hello. Did you love that intro?
I did love that intro. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy that you're here because you are such a lover and such a Pisces.
I am.
You are such
I'm a double Pisces.
Stop. You're a double
I'm all
Pisces?
water.
Oh, what's your signs?
So I'm Pisces, rising, and Cancer moon.
Oh.
So I am just an emotional wave pool
Yes,
of love.
of love all the time. Do you feel all the things, Adam?
I do.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I've learned to navigate without having to like be affected by it. Like I wouldn't say I'm such like an empath.
Okay.
But there are like the feelings can come like that. And
Yeah.
whenever people get emotional around me, I sort of can kind of feel my energy and
Yeah.
my emotions get affected just because I've always been that way. I thought everyone was like that. And then
They're
I realized,
not.
oh no, they're not.
So when you're dating, do you, not even just dating, but in life, you feel all the things, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always been that way. I think as a Pisces, you basically fall very hard, very fast. I had to learn very early on that is not everyone's process. When you're the only one being
why
like,
not?
you don't want to say I love you after 2 weeks? No?
Yeah.
No? Just me? Okay.
I do too.
But yeah, I've learned. I used to think I had to like slow down and fix that in myself, and then I learned. I think there's a book I read that was actually a combination of Chinese zodiac and zodiac.
Ooh.
So I was born in '84, which makes me a rat. And when I looked at Pisces rat, the two things that I have, it felt like I was reading my own biography of exactly how I am. I mean, just like all these things about being like an actor, an artist, dreamer, and like the emotional bandwidth that I have for relationships. And it's just like everything about it felt like I felt seen.
Oh, so dating as an actor in Los Angeles with all the feels. Like, give us a little bit of your background. So you moved
absolutely.
Here. Yeah, tell us about Adam.
So I'm originally from the Midwest.
Okay.
I was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico, but
No way.
I was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then my parents had us move to Dayton, Ohio, because my dad was in the Air Force. So I grew up in Ohio. And then after my chapter of going to college at Ball State University, I worked on acting in national tours and regionally in theater.
I could so see you in the theater, 100%. You are giving theater, 1,000%.
I am giving theater. Have a degree in theater, so I give theater quite a bit. Good theater, very good theater. I moved to New York City back in 2008 and was there for 7 years. And
what was dating like there?
Brutal.
Right? Because if you are a feeler in New York, I feel like they're like,
It was very interesting, to be honest, because I feel like obviously the dating apps started coming around at that time. You know, so it started with OkCupid, and then they started adding all these other apps to kind of try and find love, whether it's Tinder, Hinge, Bumble. There's all these apps that you could kind of get on. And each time you go on, you're like having this optimism that there's going to be a new batch of eligible bachelors.
I know.
And it turns out it's the same people with just different pictures, different profiles.
Even years later, you get on, it's the same people.
Oh, yeah. But I used to say I felt like a bad Katherine Heigl movie, like 100 First Dates, because I literally I've gone on so many dates. I was like a serial dater and the most hopeful possible way. And I held on to my optimism even when I moved to LA. But the problem I find with dating apps is like I think most people have these aspirational profiles that aren't necessarily who they are at that moment. They might be photos from 10 years earlier.
Why is it 10 years earlier?
They might. Now people use AI, so you don't even know if they are them.
Adam, the AI.
The AI, I can't.
Stop with the AI photos. Stop with the AI photos.
Seriously, like don't put yourself in an astronaut suit in space and expect us to swoon. Like that's no.
And then the next photos of you in your living room with Cheetos.
Exactly.
Like, come on.
Keep it real. Keep it real.
100%.
Thank you. So I felt like I also would like explore going to meet people at a bar and organically.
In person?
In person.
Oh my God.
I was like, so I used to go to this bar in West Hollywood called, Hell's Kitchen, not West Hollywood. Hell's Kitchen is the WeHo of, LA. So Hell's Kitchen had this bar called Posh, and it was very conversational, very small. There was like an exposed brick wall, a little seating area, and then this tiny little space that people turned into a dance floor. But every time you'd go there, you'd end up meeting people because it kind of thrust everyone together. And it was
so
really
small.
comfortable. It was very small and intimate, super casual.
Okay.
But I was there one night where there was like Neil Patrick Harris and his husband were there.
Love
there's
it.
all sorts of people that kind of come in. So that became like my stopping point before I head back up to my apartment in South Harlem.
Okay.
And I did meet several people, but I feel like I wasn't good at the casual meet and do what do we do after we meet? Like, because I don't necessarily like to like sleep with someone right away and expect that that's going to turn into anything.
Right.
And the one person I did turn that into was an alcoholic named David Reed David.
We've all done that. Yep. I've done it. 4 years. I've been
But I mean, to sum it up, I would say I've always kept my optimism. I still feel like I've always put myself out there as I am on my profile. And even if I meet people, I'm always like looking for that love. I'm always like, I grew up watching rom-coms. I still hope to find like that person you could spend your rest of your life with and build a life with, and know that like, there's so much that you can connect with. And the newest thing that's really kind of started to take a pivot in the LGBTQ community is the amount of open relationships and polyamorous relationships
let's get into it.
It's like half the people I match with, I get excited, drop the bomb that they have a husband that would love me as well. Literally, like after weeks of conversation, and I was like, and we haven't even met yet. But I was like, how is this not like the first thing that you have on there?
So that's not your vibe. You're not interested in that kind of open.
Where's the potential for me then? If they already have their husband, where's my husband in that scenario?
Right, but could you maybe do it with your own partner and be open, or you're saying you don't want to be like the unicorn?
I've always been one-track hearted.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's the Pisces emotional thing, but 100%. I feel like it's hard for me to even date two people at the same time without feeling like I'm going to hurt somebody. And so therefore I have to put all my eggs in the basket of someone that I really like get all the feels about,
Yeah. I mean, that's what makes online dating, especially just in general, so difficult because there's so many options, right? And then you go on the date, you're so hopeful, you're thinking this is the person. And then you start getting feelings and then you're like, wait, are they dating somebody else? Are they still on the app? Oh my God, they changed their photo. There's just like all these dynamics that go into it that are different than meeting somebody in person, right?
100%.
And you're right, E&M is everywhere. Ethical non-monogamy. That is what everyone is doing. And like, I do not understand it. I've gotten approached by a few couples online with like, what's up, girl? You trying to join or what?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not leaving my primary, but we want to have some fun.
Right.
And it's the overstimulation. I always talk about that on the show where people are like, monogamy is becoming an antiquated thing.
It truly is. And within the LGBTQ community, like the gay community, it's even more rare,
Yes.
I find, where someone's really like looking for their husband as well, like I am. And I have zero judgment. If people can make it happen, I respect that you can kind of figure out that emotional navigation of being able to have your primary partner and being able to have someone else come into the equation.
It's a risky move, man. It's a risky move.
It's risky because I think someone eventually might get hurt. I had a really good friend get involved in a polyamorous situation
were they the unicorn or were they like...
They were the unicorn.
Okay.
And I think it ended badly because she caught feelings with the primary.
How do you not?
The primary caught feelings and they realized, I can't really, give you what you want because I already have my person I've committed to. And it's just heartbreaking when that happens.
That kind of situation is very difficult because you are going to be catching feelings. And when people can compartmentalize all the things like that, I applaud them. But how do you control your feelings like that to be like, okay, I am not going to get involved? But then at that point, it just becomes like a carnal thing, in my opinion. I'm not saying this is true for everyone, but I don't know how else you would be able to separate it if you aren't just being like, this is a body, there's no feeling. Like, how do you do that?
I don't. I tried. I had a couple one night stand experiences in New York, and I kind of felt sick to my stomach afterwards.
Yeah.
I felt kind of gross about it.
Yeah.
And of course, there was alcohol involved where I was like, I probably wouldn't have even done the thing if I hadn't been like a little bit drunk at the time. So I was like, well, there's, again, zero judgment to people that are able to find their fun that way. But I guess I'm just really looking to connect and give, because I give so much of myself in my relationship. And I think as a Pisces, it's very important for me to find someone that meets me and in the middle and
Right.
gives themselves. So that way, if I'm looking after them and they're looking after me, then there's balance and we have, a great relationship. If I give all of myself to them and they're not really catching or giving anything, then I feel like I'm the one that gets hurt ultimately.
And how do you find those situations where like later they're not giving you enough? Like, do you see red flags in the beginning and then you're kind of falling? Because I know you're a hopeless romantic, and dating as a hopeless romantic is really hard, especially in bigger cities where there are so many options and you are so stimulated.
Yeah.
So like, how do you navigate that? Because we're the same. It's like, I get the shibby-doo-doo-doo-doo.
Yep. Yeah.
So quickly.
Oh, God,
and I'm
totally.
like, I love you. I'm not going to say it, but I'm like feeling it and my actions are showing it. And then sometimes I think people sense it because I know I can be intense. I'm aware. And they start to pull away,
Yeah.
And the magic is when you find someone that can match that. But it's like, I haven't yet to do that yet.
It's just one of those things where I feel like if you're staying on the same page, it's really a good sign that
Yeah.
you both kind of feel like, me too, like along the milestones of these little sparks and little warm fuzzies that you get from the start of the honeymoon phase of a relationship, and then being able to like continuing wanting more time with each other. I
Yeah.
mean, quality time
All
is
the
such a
time.
big thing. Yes,
kidding,
exactly.
just kidding.
Communication as well. I love communication, and I feel like that's been such a obstacle when people are like, sup, hey,
Hey,
hi.
WYD.
Yeah, like, what up? They can't even say with like words. They're
God
like,
forbid punctuation.
like, good, you, with like not even why are you?
Just
Not even
the
a question
you.
mark. Yeah, just you.
Yeah.
It's like swoon, Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think our mutual friend got a hey, or what did hi, like that was spelled,
Or just an emoji, like the waving sign is what
Just
I'm
the
getting
waving
lately.
sign.
Just a hand.
Dang, just the hand?
Which I was like, is that like talk to the hand? Don't talk to me
Don't
back?
talk to
I don't
me.
know. I don't know.
With my sensitive ass, I'm like, what's that mean? You want to break up?
But I would say like it's particularly hard for me because I'm not only am I a hopeless romantic, I'm also a serial optimist, and I always assume the best in people.
Yeah, I
So
know.
when you ask about the red flags, it's sometimes like it's hard for me to acknowledge the things that normally any sane person might be able to be like,
I know.
this run.
is
But I'm like,
giving
no,
go.
but maybe they're just a little bit, maybe they had something that was bad and they just need to come out of their shell. They're like little, it's bad. It's bad. I admit it's bad. But I will love unconditionally.
I know.
And assume the best until the worst has happened. And then ultimately I just have to keep on moving on and try to dust off the
I know. But
singed
I think
shoulders.
it's beautiful that you still can be open like that after you've gotten charred up out there in the dating streets. Do you think you are able to receive that too? Because sometimes what happens, and I know that I can speak for myself, all the love that I have to give, when somebody has shown up just ready to like flood it on me, I do get a little bit like, whoa, hold on, because I'm not used to it,
Yeah.
right? Have you experienced that?
I do have that sort of like, am I being love bombed right now? Like, what's happening? There's all these words. And I was like, am I getting a mirror reflected of what I do?
Exactly.
But I also don't feel that I'm that person. I feel like everything I've been saying are honest words. I don't feel like I'm just like saying a bunch of fluff to try and get
Right.
a response. I'm actually saying like, oh my gosh, you sound amazing, and things that are, like, I can't wait to spend more time with you and like get to know you better. And I mean, it is interesting because I do feel like I can receive it. I have very rarely received it. I very rarely received it where, I had a relationship with a guy I met from Australia who's like, to this day.
You're into the long distance love as well.
Oh, God.
We're like in the minority.
Drea. Long
I know most
distance
people
is
are
like
like-
my middle name. Like,
Why
you
are
could
we
put someone on
doing
another
this?
planet and I would find a way of being like, there's a way. They're on Mars, but I
Adam,
will see them when I see
same.
them.
I was like, I'm gonna go to Egypt. I love Egypt. I know all the things about Egypt. My
Hey,
man's in
King,
Egypt.
King
like,
Tut was hot.
I
Like,
mean, you know what I mean.
oh yeah.
But
I'll climb that pyramid.
I will climb
okay?
any.
I'm
all the
with you.
things.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Because
Let's walk like an Egyptian, Drea.
Okay, let's walk, honey. Let's do it. I love you, but I will do it, Adam. I will do it. He's like, oh, I'm in Canada. I'm like, okay, cool.
But this particular relationship started in person because I was studying abroad in London, and
Okay.
I met him there. But then, like, to give context, I met him in 2004 when I studied abroad. So we've known each other for now over 20 years, 21 years.
so-
He called
why
me on
did I
my
say
birthday.
10?
He
Oh my
called
God,
me on my
it's so
birthday this
20.
week. Like, we still talk to
Oh,
each
you
other.
still talk to each other?
And he's been in Perth, Western Australia. We have had so much like
Oh my God.
communication. And I don't see him necessarily as my person anymore. I see him as the person
Okay.
that set the bar of what I deserve. But even he took a while before I felt like he emotionally was able to kind of like say I love you back and things like in a way that because I said it like 2 weeks in.
I was going to say, Adam, how quickly.
He was a hot Australian in London. I was 20 years old.
Of course you said it quickly.
And I was like, oh my God, you're amazing. And so of course I said it. And then like, I feel like then I would see him for an entire week vacation. And as he was hugging me on the plane goodbye, he would say, love you. You know, like that's when I got my love.
Wait, pause, Adam. Love you or I love you?
Love you loads.
Love you loads. Okay. I could do. He's Aussie. That's
He's
fine.
Aussie.
He's Aussie.
And like English, if you've seen like, what's the movie, What Women Want?
Yeah.
Is that What a Girl Wants? What a Girl Wants?
Wait. I was thinking of the Mel Gibson one.
No, I meant the other one.
Okay.
Amanda Bynes.
Myself.
So Amanda Bynes is going to like meet her dad, who's Colin Firth, and like she hugs her grandmother, and she's like, "Oh no, dear, we're English. We only show affection to dogs and horses." And I'm like, I kind of feel like that checks out. Like a lot of like the English culture, which has trickled down into Australian culture, is to not necessarily be as emotionally warm as, say, a Midwestern American nice Jewish boy.
So American.
Single and available.
Okay. I love that. That's so true. I always used to feel like, and maybe still feel, I don't know, I'm still single, that my husband is English.
Ooh.
But I'm so emotional like you, and I'm such a hopeless romantic, and every opportunity, every new date feels like, could this be the one, you know? Do you feel though, as you get older though, you are more set in your ways, or do you still feel malleable to kind of work with someone? I mean, we're both talking about moving across the country, so, I mean, kind of answers the question, but what do you think?
It's true. I feel like that's a great question because I think on one hand, I think I know myself better than I ever have. And so I know what I have to offer, and I'm comfortable in presenting that without trying to feel like I'm you know how some people kind of change their shapeshift. They try and change their hobbies. Oh, you like to doing Barry's boot camp? Like
me too.
I learned that lesson the hard way. I was like, I did that once and I almost threw up because it was like, I had never done it before. I was like, sure, yeah, me too. And then he's like, I signed us up for an 8 a.m. class. And I was like,
not the 8 a.m.
And like, it was like one of the cardio and workouts. And I was like running up a Stairmaster for an hour, like 10 miles. I don't know what we did, but I literally was like, what have I done? Like I said yes to the wrong thing.
You said yes to the wrong thing.
But I would say like, I don't necessarily feel like I need to do that anymore. But I also love when you find those commonalities that you're able to do.
And the real commonalities.
The real ones. And then sometimes there might be something that they do that you're not like really, you know, initially a fan of, but when they introduce it to you, it can become your thing. And there's still room for you to kind of like find those shared moments that you didn't necessarily have. So I don't necessarily change myself anymore and feel like I have to. But I do try to be more cognizant when I notice that I'm bringing something into my routine that I don't normally do because they do it, and trying to make sure that this is something that like is still me, you know?
It's still you. And I think that is one of the beauties about getting older. Mm-hmm. It's such a beautiful thing that you do get more grounded in who you are, and you can say, hey, like, I don't want to go surfing. I can't swim, buddy. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, but before in my 20s, like I'm at the beach, get ready to die because this guy has a surfboard and he's hot.
I am terrified of sharks.
Terrified.
But I probably would be putting myself on a surfboard, even though that I'm accident prone and having a board strapped to my head is like a horrible.
Okay,
like,
but
I'm
a
skier, not a snowboarder.
We love each other, and I'm gonna make this work. But it's nice to be able to say now, like, hey, this is not something I'm interested in. It doesn't mean I'm not interested in you, and maybe there are other things we can like find to do together. But before, it would feel like the end of everything if I didn't say yes to everything another person wanted. And I think as people get scared to get older, it is such a great thing to kind of stand in your own and be like, no, I'm not going. I still like you, but I don't have to do the things that you do.
And I think it's healthy for people to have their own interests too. I feel like some people feel like they need to like carve all of their time for their person, which I was guilty of this early in relationships where I felt like I like gave all of my time to that person because quality time was a love language. And also our schedules weren't easy to cooperate. So I would like any free time I had, I would just give to them. And then my friends would have, you know, less time with me. I would get resentment on them. I felt like I was an unhealthy balance with the time I gave to the partner. And I think I'm learning now to be like, you know, if there's things that they want to do, it's great to go do something with their own friends, and you have your own friend time, and then you meet whenever you can. And that's really what you're looking for.
And that's okay too.
That's life.
And I would think that was like the worst thing in the world if like I had plans with my friends and then my partner asked me to hang out. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
What am I going to do?
It's a Sophie's choice. How do you choose?
Exactly.
How do you choose?
But you know, when people show up to me and they're like, hey, babe, I got plans with my guys tonight. Like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you wanted to hang out. I find that there's admiration and respect in that where they're holding their boundaries. And I'm like, ooh, okay, that's actually pretty hot. that they're like, I'm going to go take care of myself with my friends and then come back to you when, when we both can align on time.
And absence makes the heart grow fonder. Sometimes if they do want to have a night with friends, like, I think you should just let them, because then then they'll be like, oh, I can't wait to come home to you. I missed you.
Guess.
I wish you were with us tonight.
But are they
right?
FaceTiming me during the time?
No.
I'm just kidding.
See, for me, FaceTime is just with COVID, like, how many first dates did you have to have with FaceTime?
Okay, I thought you were about to say you didn't like FaceTime.
Oh no, I like FaceTime,
Okay.
but it's like triggering to be like the era where all you could do is like be on a screen, be in your own apartment, and be like, am I dating? What's happening right now? Like, they're across the world. They might as well have been in London or New York, which I probably did. It didn't even matter.
Yeah.
But I was like, I can't meet you right now because this is a time where it's unsafe.
Yeah.
And now it's like I want to, if we have the option to meet in person, I choose in person. I know that you have different feelings about FaceTime. Is that correct?
I love FaceTime. I have a whole process.
But is it like
dating.
First meeting FaceTime important to you before
I meet them? Adam, I will not meet someone unless we FaceTime. I am so sorry. I did it recently, and let me tell you.
Regrets.
Big regrets. The pictures were not matching. And this is, as soon as I got there, I said, and this is why I'm mother effing FaceTime. Even if it's just for a hot second, Adam.
It's like a verification process, right?
It's a verification process, and I have no shame. Because one guy did say to me, he was English actually, he's like, I think you're taking the magic out of meeting someone. I'm like, listen, Mug, if you look like your photos, jump on a FaceTime real quick. I got makeup and gas.
We speaking from trauma. I mean,
makeup and gas, dude. So you figure it out. And I see you. It's not like I make you stand up and walk across the room. I just want to see your face. Now, there's a bunch of other things that happen when I meet you, but I need to make sure we're not working with like 40 extra pounds overweight. Not that there's anything wrong with that. There's a lot of people who enjoy that. It's just not for me.
Just be honest about it.
Just be honest about it. Show me your current photos. Let me make a choice from the truth.
And I get it. If you're talking to a British person, I feel like I want to be like, are you actually British? Let me hear you speak. Because
Let me hear you
I'm an
speak.
audio message person. I love to send an audio text because then I'm hoping they're going to send one back so I can hear how they sound. Because
I love that.
There are times, that's actually a really interesting part about same-sex dating, that I feel like there is a spectrum of masculinity that seems to be.
Let's talk about it.
Okay. Good transition, Adam.
Yes, I love
Good.
that. Very smart. Love it.
But I feel like there is like this expectation that people are always men attracted to men and they need them to be masculine men. Oh. And if there are men that maybe are a little bit more effeminate in the way they speak, sometimes they don't, find the love that they need. And even though it's very weird.
How
it's
interesting.
Like it's very toxic in a way that there's a toxic masculinity element where I think some people are literally just putting on their profile like mask for mask and like no femmes and like it's like they
Is
literally
that a thing, Adam?
That's a thing. If you were to see on any dating profile, there's going to be profiles that are absolutely saying that. And I don't necessarily come at it from that angle, but I do feel like there's an element of hearing how they sound in their voice that makes me feel like I'm emotionally connecting with them and knowing that like, oh, it's nice to hear how they sound. That's just an element you don't know from looking at pictures on a profile.
I mean, there's a lot that gets missed in online dating. I've seen people in person that, like, if I had seen them online, I may have swiped on them. But there's all these things and nuances that you miss and don't get to have when you are online dating. That's,
Right.
Yeah.
And I do like how Hinge has those audio prompts so you can hear them.
That's been very helpful. Thank you, Hinge.
Thank you. But also sometimes people will be like, play a song. And I was like, you missed the window, dude. Like, you missed it. I know they're lame, but we just want to hear what you sound like.
We
to
just
make
want to
sure
hear
you are
what
a human being.
Exactly.
I have been catfished by AI. I've been catfished by also.
What?
You name the catfish opportunity, I have had it.
Stop.
People asking for money. I had faux military people in Afghanistan trying to say that they were looking for their husband after they lost their family from a motorcycle accident that didn't happen.
It's a very specific, detailed story. Oh my God.
I have, you name the experience. So the trauma that comes with wanting to meet in person and maybe not, like put all my eggs in the basket for online dating is not because I don't think that there's people out there, but I wish the apps did a better job of really verifying that these are real people behind the profiles. Because even on Tinder, I've seen like the same photo of one guy that I don't even know, but I've seen him 6 times in a row. I was like, how are they not catching that this photo is attached to 6 profiles right now? Like, what are they doing?
And what are they doing
to protect us?
Like, what are they? And the thing is, there's so many vulnerable people who, like, let's say they don't get that many matches, and maybe they match with this person who has all these profiles and feel like something's happening. They're getting emotionally attached, and they don't need to do the verification process. That's why I FaceTime. And I'm like, let me listen. My thing is, we will talk on the app for a little bit. We got like a 7-day window of like making plans. I'm not going to sit here and be your pen pal. I'm not here for it. I got things to do. Are we meeting? Are we not? Let's get on, do the FaceTime. We have coffee and get on with our lives.
And I also think I've made the mistake of actually talking for too long on apps. And then
it
feels like you miss the opportunity to have some of these conversations face to face.
Yes.
And I think I'm trying to be more cognizant about my time when I do have matches to do that.
Because people are out there just lonely. Some people are still in other relationships. They just need a little validation hit. Yeah. So you don't really know what you're getting. And so if someone, and I try to like sort of, this is also a good segue, and stay in my feminine, but like I will exchange a few messages and then I'm like, do you want my number? Like, are we talking on the phone? Like, what are we doing? I ain't got time. Well, you got like, it's a couple days. And I'm like, what's up? You know, how does that work though with same-sex relationships in terms of those dynamics, like you said, of masculinity? Like who kind of chases who? Is it like, do you just feel it out? Like how do you navigate that?
It's an excellent question, Drea. And that's sort of the interesting thing about it is like, you don't know, like obviously you know that there's sexual preferences where there's like tops versus bottoms and verse and everything. So in some respects, I used to always think it was like the top's position to find the bottom and like do all, you know, like you had to be the one to be like, well, I'm going to be the man in this and I'm going to like make the message.
And is that on profiles? Like, is that clear on some people?
Some people use arrows. Some people don't disclose.
Oh
yeah. An up, down. Both arrows, round the circle.
Oh, okay.
Side. I mean, there's so many. There's so many.
Thank you.
And it's not like a Kama Sutra book. It's literally like, this is what's happening. But sometimes there's so many that they almost like cancel each other out. And I'm like, what do they mean? This is like a math equation. This is a math equation. Like this plus this does not equal what they're saying.
Just where am I going? Position me. What do you need me to do?
There's so many obstacles, Drea. But literally, I always tell, you know, I tell my friends that I want to be the person that says, I don't chase, I attract. But I have found that I like being a go-to guy and asking questions and starting the message. Like I like being that person that just like, because I feel like it makes me feel in my element. Because if I was to see someone at a bar, I wouldn't be all shy and make them come to me. I would probably go up and be like, hey, can I buy you a drink? Because I have that sense of confidence about myself. And I think that makes me feel that I am comfortable in that position. And when I've met someone that I'm attracted to that takes that away from me, in a way, I kind of wonder, I was like, oh, that's a different experience. And I don't feel bad about it. But I kind of wonder if I'm like supposed to meet someone like that. That's going to take my breath away with me being in the role that I normally am. But there is no standard. Like going on a date, who's supposed to treat? Okay. Do you know?
This is
you
what
don't know.
My next question was. That check comes. What's happening?
Yeah. And I was raised this way. Like I like to treat my friends. I'm always like to be generous. If I ask someone out, I want to treat them. Like that's just how I feel.
Okay.
Unless it's like the craziest dinner experience.
Of course.
We might want to go halvesies. But in general, I like, if I'm asking you out, I feel like
so
I plan to
whoever
treat.
does the asking out, maybe.
Usually, even if they asked me out, I might try and steal the deal.
That is cute.
Steal the bill. I
that
feel
is
like
cute.
What's not cute is just sitting there and looking at it and waiting for someone to pay.
Adam, I'm sick. I'm gonna throw up.
Like that's, I mean, I was like, oh, you're just like waiting and waiting.
I hate that
I hate that. I was like, just make a move, be bold, be generous. And then, or let's say you had plans to do dinner and a movie, a classic date. I'm available for those. So I would say like, if I bought dinner, maybe you could be like, I'll offer to buy the movie. And you kind of, I love the TikTok balance. It's like a game of tennis where someone treats, the next person treats. And it's even. That way you're not feeling like one person has to do all the caretaking.
So it's not those traditional dynamics where it's like heterosexual relationships where it's like the woman is just kind of like, and the man's like paying for everything.
Correct.
It's kind of like you kind of go back and forth.
But the
and
thing
do that.
is like, that's how I operate, is because I know that that's my comfort zone.
Right.
I just feel like there is still no way of knowing just from connecting with someone, even in a person or on an app, of how they're going to operate. So there is like this, like, it's like the subtext and this like micro level of trying to feel each other out and understand if that's something that vibes with your vibe and your compatibility. But ultimately, I have never had the same experience twice where I feel like it makes sense.
It's also different.
There's some people, I like to think I could read people pretty well and assume that I might know what they're going to do. But people always surprise you. And that's kind of like why we still do it.
I love a quick grab. When I'm on a date, I love a quick, hey, I got it. Hey, give it to me.
Yeah.
What I don't like, I remember when I went on this date, there was like a bit of a stare off. And I was like, I know he is not going to sit here and wait for me to grab my purse. And we were doing this, and I was like.
Yeah.
And then he just begrudgingly grabbed it. And I was like,
wow. Yep. You're like swiping right now. I'm going to swipe in front of you.
Literally. I was like, where is my cell phone? Because I got to get back on the app because this date is over.
Yeah.
Then have the nerve to be like, so can I come up? No. No, you
Yeah.
may not. No, you may not.
But can I ask you, so do you like to be the one that is kissed, or do you ever make the first move to kiss the guy that you are on a date with?
You know what, Adam? That's a great question. I think it depends on the vibe, right? Because sometimes I've gone on dates and there's no physical touching. There's nothing. It just isn't really going that way. And then sometimes I've gone on a date. I saw a dude. I'm like, God damn. You know? I'm like, do you want to make out now? I'm like, Drea, I'm a lady.
But hey.
But Jesus, I've got a couple surprises in there. And I was like, ooh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to the appetizer. But I feel like all of that is shown in body language because I am so transparent. Like, if a guy is wondering if I like him, I probably don't. Yeah. Like, I'm usually pretty clear with the... He's like, okay, Drea, I get it, Jesus. And so I'm pretty like open and they'll probably come to me, but there's definitely been times where I'm like, I'll just go for it,
Yeah.
And so it just kind of depends. But usually I like it if a guy's like assertive and he feels that energy because I show it. And then they kind of go for it. I like that.
I feel like there's something that I like, which is usually making the first move. It's just kind of how I feel like I typically end. And in a way, I'm always pleasantly surprised when they go in to kiss me before I was going to do it. Like that's always a great sign that like they found the same attraction and such.
Yeah.
But there is no way to know when you're going on a date with same sex of like who's supposed to take lead. And it's there's just no, I can't tell you a rule book because it's like it's different every single time, and it kind of makes it new and fun. Like there's no like you could make a TV show where there's like a bunch of different dates every single
and they would
episode,
all be so
and
different.
they would all be so different,
right?
And that's what's kind of so interesting about it. And people are finding these ways of, I mean, like ultimately, I want to be a working dad, even though I want to be like a husband and father. I know that there are some same-sex couples that I'm friends with that someone's like the stay-at-home dad and taking care of the kids, and the other one's the breadwinner. There's all these different ways of finding balance in a relationship and what you contribute. But I feel like it's the fun of just figuring out what you do and what they do, and if it vibes and matches, that's the magic. That's the magic. Zhuzh,
It seems like it's just a case by case basis, and and if you flow with someone, I think we all make concessions, right? When you especially when you love somebody, or your heart decides that you love someone, because you're not going to get every single thing checked on your list. It isn't going to happen. It's not going to happen, people. You know what I mean?
I actually feel like I have something to say about that.
Ooh, okay.
I feel like I have my list. And I've always been working about like what's checking off the boxes, and I've always been like looking, and sometimes there are these people that like, it's like The Good on Paper. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
Yep. So there's all these things you're like, I
dated that guy.
Oh, awesome. And then you're like, but then when you meet them, you're like, oh, they're a terrible person or have a horrible personality, but they checked all the boxes. So maybe there's something there. And I was like, the boxes are kind of dangerous. I feel like you need to take someone in as they are. It's
in
great,
that moment,
see them who they are, and hopefully like, it's checking boxes, but like don't make that like the rule that you go by, because I feel like when you find something that is on paper really great, sometimes they may not have the magic or the chemistry.
Right.
Chemistry is not created nor destroyed. It just is.
It just mother effing is. And there's nothing you can do about it.
It's
and
true.
That's why I find it so fascinating. I wish you could see energy between people. And when you go out to a bar, to a club, or whatever it is, and it's like this stuff is just flowing, and then you see someone, and then it just goes to this person. And if you're healthy, hopefully you're getting healthy energy back. I don't know. But, it's probably unhealthy. It's just red.
Yeah, there's some people who would be like sucking in them. Like the entry in front of the girl goes right into the guy. He's like a succubus.
Exactly. And it's like you don't know. And you're like, where am I at in my healing journey that I'm being drawn to this person? And I've noticed that it's not perfect with online dating, but as I've learned to love myself more, I'm not attracting the same guys like I used to. I mean, there's still a couple things I'm working on, you know what I mean? But it's a better quality of guy. It's a better quality of guy, and that's due to the work that I've done on myself. I wanted to ask you, like, with the kids dating today, like these younger generation kids, like it's so different in the dynamics of like dating. Like I couldn't imagine dating as a 20-year-old today. And this idea of being in a monogamous relationship, it's almost out the window. And it actually makes me sad. Don't put labels on things, situationships. Don't say I love you, ghost people, block people. Like, it makes me really sad. How do you feel about that?
I mean, again, I'm trying to be a hopeless romantic here. I'm very hopeful. I'm hopeful. I'm just holding on to.
Hold on, Adam.
But also, unfortunately, I'm not looking for a 20-year-old because I feel like I'm not.
But I feel like it's seeping over
but you're
to
right.
us.
There is, let's just talk about like gender expression and all the new labels of people can even say who they are if they're non-binary, cisgender, all the different things that people come at the table with of self-identification. And then because there are these new relationship compounds of like whether they're open or polyamorous, I feel like it makes them feel. And this is just my personal opinion. And again, I have zero judgment to people that can do this. But I give, when I'm in a monogamous relationship, all of myself to that person. I literally give like all of my heart in exchange for theirs. And I connect with them. I want to know everything about them. And I feel like the connection I think, is a little bit deeper than some people's relationships where they need to open it up and have sex with other people to feel like they're satisfying their needs or their wants. And so in some respects, I think it makes people that are young, like it's not so scary to dip the pool into relationships because you don't have to like put all your eggs in the basket to marry someone or find that person.
Right.
And we grew up at a time where like, people found their loved ones, got married, had kids, and like that was like the standard. And even like with television programming, I feel like the first show I saw where there was a gay character was My So-Called Life. Do you remember?
Oh yes,
yeah. It was only one season, but it made a huge impression on me.
Of course.
And then it's
love
like
that, Adam.
And then there's like other TV shows that eventually came out, like Will and Grace, which was like kind of comedically showing it, but you kind of never really got to see them like find full on find like three-dimensional lives and finding their loved ones. But new people and young people in general with social media, I don't envy them because we didn't really have it.
Thank baby Jesus.
I know. I mean, I have two nieces and I feel like it's just
right.
It's like seeing how people are connecting in such a, and social media is like sort of a oxymoron because in a way it keeps you home by yourself, not being social. It literally is like keeping you by yourself in your own little bubble, in your safe little bubble, to be like posting and editing things about yourself that may not even be the truth and feeling validated by what you see in other people and thinking that what their posts are actually who they are and what they are. And you have to be reminded everything is edited. You can't take everything. So in a way, it's like, what's social about that? What makes you feel like you have all these friends and you have followers? You don't even have friends. You have followers on Instagram.
Right.
Where's the friends on Instagram?
Adam, you just cracked my brain a little bit. It's not social.
It's not. And there was a really powerful
non-social media.
There was like a short film I saw that was like so powerful. It was like an animated 3-minute thing where it showed people just like stuck and glued to their phones. And then like they were supposed to be soulmates and they were like on a corner and they were both like staring at their phones and they walked right by each other. And they were just saying like, you never know when you're glued to your phone who the universe is trying to send you that you're missing because you're like, you're paying attention to the wrong thing.
I am never looking at my phone again so I can find my man. That's what I've decided.
I'm not saying that there's not value in social media, but I do feel like it contributes to people's feeling of like guardedness.
Yes,
absolutely. To build a sort of edited fortress of themselves to be like, this is the image I'm trying to, like, I'm sporty and I'm good with dogs. and like they have all these different things that they like check these boxes for themselves to feel valid and feel hot on social media. And then if people don't like or comment, they start to feel certain ways about themselves. And I was like, go out to a bar and meet someone. Go out to
God forbid though.
Go do something in real life because I think that's really like way more important.
Yeah, I really hope that we can circle back to that. But AI is so crazy and scary, and it's like, don't come for me, AI robots. I love the AI for now. But I saw this video yesterday where it was a guy who they showed a guy at his computer, and then he was a woman on the other like half of the screen, and he was like doing stuff as himself, but he had the woman avatar on his face, and somebody wrote, OnlyFans is over now. You know, like it could just totally be a dude doing it. They're gonna have like a woman body.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine what they're gonna have in like 5 years. Because yes, AI is so prevalent on dating apps, and I find it so fascinating that these men will be in an astronaut, they're at this like distinguished bar, and then they're just like at a picnic table at a random park, you know, just looking like whatever in a t-shirt. And I'm like, who is who? I'm like, you don't got those biceps in that photo.
No.
Like, what happened? You know what I mean?
Or even like using when people use ChatGPT
Yeah.
to like write their
everything.
They're trying to be witty in their exchanges, and they're like feeding the lines, and then having ChatGPT like, I was like, what? Just be authentic, be you.
Yeah.
I feel like, because that's ultimately what it is. It's really simple. It's like a person connecting in front of another person, showing them all of their freak flags, all of who they are.
All the freak flags.
And allow them to be like loved and accepted for that. And that's when you know you found something really great, because they're not running from them. But you got to be willing to show them. And that means being in FaceTime in front of each other. But it's we've all just been, I think COVID really did it, but we really pivoted towards a strong influence on loving being behind a camera, being behind social media or computers, and having this like, not having to be at work, not having to show up and be present, so you can kind of keep yourself guarded. But I think it's doing a huge disservice on people even being able to have the emotional bandwidth to be in a relationship.
So what would you say to hopeless romantics who are young and they're dating in this modern world with all of this stuff that is sort of leaning towards disconnection? Because it's like, is the hopeless romantic gonna go away?
No. Hopeless romantics, hey, I see you. I still have got it. And I would say that ultimately, you're gonna experience a lot of people that are not on the same page, but that just means they're not the right person for you. Just know that, you know, there's plenty of people out there that are gonna be like-minded. You just have to be willing to do the work and find them and stay open. And, you know, you're a star, and stars are discovered among clusters.
That's so sweet. And I love that energy, because you don't get it a lot. I mean, generally what I end up feeling from people is everyone's just kind of hard, and everyone's afraid to be soft. And they're like, oh, well, if you don't do what I want, you know, there's 10 other dudes, 10 other girls that are going to do exactly what I need. So I don't really need to invest in this. Or when they do start to feel their heart open and feel soft, they get really scared. Like, oh, what the hell? No, I don't like you. You know, or they'll ghost you, because it is really vulnerable to show up to someone and say, hey, this is really me. And do you like me for me? And can you see my heart and not all this stuff?
Right. Yeah. People are so afraid to show themselves. And I feel like that's what makes people so unique and beautiful.
Yeah.
Of having, you know, whether people suffer from something that as simple as like just being like having anxiety or having any sort of thing that they're maybe like self-conscious about, but being honest about it, being honest about maybe things like how you're brought up, you know, family upbringings, being true to like the person that we're all like amalgams of our upbringing, you know, like the way
100%.
the way that we see relationships healthily, whether it was from movies or our parents or anything, we are sponges and observe this is what life is like. And we've kind of picked and choose the things for our card of what we wanted for our life. And now that we have that, we have to be willing to like be honest about it, so that way you can find someone that's like, oh my gosh, me too. Like
me too.
You know, it's the lock and key event.
You have given us some nuggets today. Okay. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
Before we let you go, though, we're going to play a little game of red flag, green flag. Yay! I'm going to ask you these questions. Here you go. And you're going to say red flag.
I'm not colorblind. Red, green.
Yes, make sure you say red or green, so for the people who are listening and not getting the visual experience as they should. Okay. Are you ready, Adam?
I am ready.
Okay, has cats.
Green.
Amazing.
I mean, I technically used to be allergic to cats, but I don't think I am anymore. And I do feel like anyone that likes animals are great. I'm more of a dog guy, but I'm not going to not date someone who has cats.
Okay. I was like, Adam, you know,
because I get it. They're easier pets to manage. I've got a dog. I know.
Okay. Only says I love you when he's drunk.
Red.
Ooh. Okay. Love it.
Because even though some people say that alcohol is the truth serum, I still feel like it's not
sexy.
It's not sexy to feel like you have to be an afterthought or only like when you're intoxicated to say it. Like, come on.
Exactly. Okay. Text you back really quickly.
Green.
Yay.
Because I'm a communication person. I would say, like, I don't think I overtext, but I definitely like to communicate.
Definitely overtext.
I mean, I kind of overtext. Okay, I'm working on it. But I feel like if they text me back, that makes me feel important. I feel like there are people that like will send you a message and you can tell they're clearly at work. It'll be like in the morning, and then at like 5 p.m. all of a sudden the message continues.
Right.
I respect that. But the people that like message me while they're at work make me feel even more important because they're like, hey, I know I'm supposed to be at work right now, but I'm going to send a reply right now at 11 a.m.
Everybody can. Wants to share locations with you.
Red?
Okay.
I feel like that, I mean, it depends on where you are in the relationship. I've never once needed to share location unless like we were going somewhere dangerous.
Right.
Like if I was like, oh, we're going to a downtown club, and you're like, okay, I was like,
Tijuana, Mexico.
And if he's like, I'm going with my friends, I'd be like, okay, well maybe we should like make sure we know where you are so you don't get trafficked. I don't know.
Right. Okay, so not doing that. His mom still does his laundry.
Red. I'm sorry. Like I'm an independent person. I feel like that's the bare minimum that like. There's so much to unpack about mom still doing laundry. Like,
hey,
does your mom still live with you?
Who
like,
knows?
Why? Like, do you send it back to Ohio, where I'm from, to have your mom do laundry and have it come back? Because there's drop-off laundry here, but that's just red.
I'm curious on this one. He says, "I love you" very quickly.
That is such a hard flag.
I was wondering.
I would say green only because it makes me feel like they might be even more of a hopeless romantic than I am as a positive. As long as I'm not being love bombed. But I still wouldn't run for the hills. I would have to suss it out. But I wouldn't red flag them for it because I'm not a love avoidant.
Okay. Makes less than you.
Green.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like I'm planning on making a lot of money in my career. Okay. So I feel like it's probably going to be a lot of people.
Has kids. Okay.
That's tough because I want to be a dad. And so I feel like that means I want to have that opportunity with my partner. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I don't want to be judgy of it, but I would say red flag probably because if they already have that chapter, there's a really good chance that they're not going to want to have more kids.
Okay.
And that takes that opportunity for me to not be, I don't want to be a stepdad. I want to be a dad.
I love that.
But I'm not judging. I just think that most people in those situations have already had that chapter.
They've already done it.
And they're not open to it. You know, it's like, they're like oh, it's great. You want to be a dad. I already have kids.
Right.
So I don't want to have that opportunity denied to me because that's something I really want.
Okay, last one. Bad style. He shows up. He's hot. But you're like, what in the hell is he wearing?
Green flag. I love a project.
Adam, I love you so much.
I love you too. Thank you so much for having me.
This has been so much fun. You gave us some amazing nuggets. Let everybody know where they can find you, Adam.
Oh, well, you can follow me on Instagram at AdamFriedLA, and I'm also on Facebook at AdamFriedNYC, which is weird. I guess I'm bi-coastal. I was, and now I am.
Oh my God.
And I don't really have the TikTok. Don't judge me.
No, Adam.
But you can follow me on a show called Obsessed, the series. Because I've got a lot of stuff coming over there.
Oh my God. I love it. You've been so great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And we will definitely do a part 2.
Part 2.
Okay. All right, guys.
Part 2.
I love it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, don't forget this is the place for the hot mess expresses and the black sheeps of love. Until next time, I'm Drea Renee. We'll see you soon. Bye.